Hi, Dave Wilson here again. Now, if you see my other video on the Swanstrom heart-shaped disc cutters, then you'll know what you can do with that. Now, I mentioned in that other video that you can get special positioning dies to help you make washer-shaped components. Well, I've managed to get hold of some here. They were out of stock, but I've got some. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through and I'm going to show you how to use these. If you want to learn how to use the disc cutter, then see the other video first. So this is kind of a follow-on video, if you like. So I'm just going to show you how to use these punches with it. So grab your disc cutter, follow me. So here we have the Swanstrom special shaped disc cutter, and if you haven't seen it, check out the other video. And of course this allows me to cut out heart-shaped components like this, and this is as they say, one I prepared earlier. So this is one of the heart-shaped cutouts done with the large cutter there, you see. But let's imagine for a moment, rather than just a straightforward heart, let's imagine I wanted to cut out an outline, like a frame or a washer component as we call it. What I would have to do is I would have to cut out the smaller heart and then align it in the die absolutely perfectly, and then cut out the larger heart. So you cut out the smaller one, then cut out the larger one. Well, the problem of course is trying to get it aligned into the dies. So this is where the alignment dies come in. So we've got 3. Now the reason why you've got 3 is if you cut a small hole using the largest cutter, well, you can't go any bigger than that. You can't cut a larger hole out if you've already used the largest cutter. So there's 3 cutters. So the smallest one, let's just get these out of the way. So the smallest die fits in here, so this will allow you to use the smallest hole and then cut out the next largest one. The medium one fits in here, and this will allow you to use the smallest die, the second smallest, and then cut out the external with that one. And then of course we've got the big one, which will fit in here, and this will allow you to use any of the 3 smaller dies as the centre and then use the large one as the outside. So let's give it a go. I've got here a sheet of 0.7mm anodised aluminium, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the large cutter to make a pendant, and I'm going to cut the centre out using the second 2 medium one. So I've got a large washer component. Now remember, you always have to use the smaller cutter first, align it, and then use the large cutter. So you need to think carefully about how you're going to cut this out. So I'm going to cut that one out first and then the large one. So if I just cut too close to the edge, I'm not going to have the room to cut the larger one out afterwards. So you need to give yourself space to do that. So let's just have a think about it. So if I cut that one out there, and I can flip it round and cut the larger one out round it. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that there is space there. So I'm just going to use a pen, just mark round that, just roughly to get an idea where that heart's going to go. So I need to cut out roughly in the middle of it, so something around there. So if I just put a little cross there, I'm going to cut that one out and then the larger one. So it just helps you to maximise your metal so you're not wasting it. So just as before, I'm going to put that in, and I'm looking for my little cross there, so I'll get my little cross roughly in the middle, so I know that I've got space to cut the larger one out. So I can see my little cross in there now, so I know I've got space to cut out. Just tighten it up. I'm being gentle with this because this is aluminium, so I don't want to scratch the surface. Little bit of lubricant, this is a little bit of cut lube, just to stop it from sticking on the metal. Pop that into there, and as I've mentioned on the other video, my trusty £2 brass head hammer. So let's just get these out of the way. Make sure that it's nice and solid, nice and firm, and a couple of good blows. There we go. This is aluminium, so pretty easy to cut out. And you can see there, that's a little red heart. I might use that for something else later. Having cut out my smaller heart, I now need to cut out the larger one. And this is where the problem arises, in trying to get that perfectly aligned. So this is where the little dies come in. Now what this will do is, this will clip into place inside that heart there. And you see that will perfectly align it when I put it in the die. So, open your plate, make sure that it's nice and loose, you've got a bit of room to move around. Pop it inside, and I can see my little heart there. Now this is where I need to get this clipped into position. So just pop that into the hole there. Just wiggle it round, and I'm waiting for it to clip into position. And you can actually, if you look underneath, you can actually see it. Just manoeuvre it round, and then eventually you'll get it lined up, and there you go. And that's clipped into position now. That smaller heart now is now perfectly aligned inside that one. So I can take that positioning die out. It's not a cutter, it's just for positioning. Put my large cutter in, a little bit of lubricant there, pop that on there, make sure everything's nice and tight. £2 brass hammer, and just knock that through. There we go. And you can see now I've got this lovely heart-shaped component. Now I hope you can see this on the camera. What I've done here is I've just laid them all together in different sizes, going from the largest down to the smallest. So if I just pull them out, you'll hopefully be able to see how they work. So that's the smallest heart there. So we've got the first washer there. So that's using the second two smallest dies. And then we've got the two medium-sized dies there. And then we've got the largest two there. And of course you can mix and match different ones. So for example, let's just get this one here. So that's the first one I made. So that's the larger one, but using one of the slightly smaller hearts in the middle. So I think these are an absolutely invaluable addition to the Swanstrom heart-shaped disc cutter. It expands your repertoire, it allows you to make other components, so rather than just the hearts, you can now make washers, combining the two to make beautiful pendants and accessories. Look at that, see? Imagine that on a jump ring and a chain, beautiful. So it really does expand the capabilities of what you can do. Just be careful when you put them in, don't whack these with your hammer because you will break them. These are only plastic. Admittedly, I do think they are a little expensive for 3 plastic pegs, but they are very precisely made, they fit perfectly, they're really going to expand the capabilities of what you can do with your disc cutter. And if you haven't got the heart-shaped disc cutter, then why not? I've been Dave Wilson. Thanks for watching.